Hello, so what are we doing here? We're making lasagna. That's right, we got 4 pounds of noodles, we got a couple pounds of hamburger, and we have some ingredients. There's my mother, she's opening some cans, and then we got a few. My mother doesn't feel very well, and this is literally what you see here. If you went to the Mount House and you were looking at having a meal before Mass, this is how things can go. I know that we have plenty over here, and you can see here even there's quite a few canned goods. So that's how it is. My mother here, she just accidentally spilled the garbage, but she's working along. So here we are again, we're partway through making the lasagna. You see the red sauce, you see the giant bowl, my mother holding the giant bowl, and we're moving right along here.
You don't mind if I put my face in the middle of it, do you?
So here we are, we got the lasagna and we layered it, and you can see what's left in the pan for the red sauce. You can see what's left in the pan for the white sauce. There's my mother there, and we're possibly going to make more than one lasagna. So here we are again, we got the main lasagna in the oven that you saw before. Made a little pan lasagna because we had some leftover, took care of the sauce. And also too, we got the 7-quart cast iron, enamel cast iron pan, just full of lasagna. And you can see here all the mess here and what we got going on here. Now, haven't taken care of the trash yet, but we're certainly going to. And then we got the cheese mix that we had, took care of that. We're going to go in the next room here. You'll be able to see my mother here reclining. And so here she is, and reclining away. So how strenuous was that, Mom, to make all the lasagna?
I had to quit before I was finished.
So she had to quit before she was finished here, and
because I didn't feel well.
Because she did not feel well. And then we have the door open, obviously, because the temperature inside the kitchen with the lasagna is so extreme. So that's what we got. So here we are. We took the first lasagna out of the oven, and it looks like it might be done. We'll have to take a taste test and see. Here we are, the first piece on the first lasagna. And the only thing I got clean here is a little tiny, I don't know what you call it, a cake decorating tool. So a utensil. You see all the steam coming out of here. And ooh, just made it. So, well, we got a little piece of broccoli here. I cut some broccoli florets and put some black broccoli florets in there. Got some ricotta cheese, got some cheddar cheese. There's some Parmesan on the top there. And just to give you an idea here, you can see how big the pan is in relation to my hand. You can see how this is a very, very deep pan of lasagna. We put the second pan in the oven here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that over to my mother, and we're going to do a taste test here. And you can see all the dirty dishes here. I'm going to take out a fork. Had to do a lot of stuff with a lot of dishes in order to get this thing done here. So my mother has made the agreement that she's going to clean everything here. So I am so glad. So I got a fork here. I'm bringing this to my mother. And we're going to see what she thinks. So here she is reclined. She's going to take the first lasagna and try it. This is the Three Little Bears test. So we'll see if this is done, or how well done it is, I guess you could say.
It's good.
So it tastes like it's done everything. How about that broccoli? Is it cooked right?
Let me try it.
Is it like crunchy, or how is that going there?
I think you're supposed to grind it up and do it.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. That's fresh. That was fresh black broccoli. The florets.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, so that's the first pan of lasagna. So here I am with the big lasagna. It is done. It was 375 degrees for 45 minutes, and me and my mother ate, and we're full, and you can see how much is left here. Wanted to take the measurements here, and the pan looks like it might be around 13 inches wide, and we're going to see how long this thing is. That's my mother here in the background. So right now, trying to see here. So it could be around maybe 17, 18 inches long. And we're going to see how deep this is. This is the biggest pan that you normally get at Walmart.
3 or 4 inches deep.
Do you think about 3 or 4 inches deep, man? So here, about three or 4 inches deep, and you can see it there, and there's my mother here, and so what did you think of the lasagna, Mom? Is that decent?
Yes, I thought it would be more, be harder on the stomach, but actually it was a lot easier on the stomach to eat it.
Well, show you some of the stuff we used here. We used the tomato basil there, and then we also had traditional tomato classic there, and we had I want to say about 4 or 5 bottles of that, and there was you can see an empty bottle in back here. We also had a 6 cheese pasta sauce, and then and we had black olives go in here. We had peas. We had corn. You can kind of see some of the peas here. I'll point at some of the peas. There's corn. There's broccoli. There's Parmesan cheese. There's mozzarella cheese, and we had 4 packs of noodles. 4 packs of noodles. I'll show you what each of the packs look like. This is a 1 pound pack of noodles. And my mother there, she has some garlic which we didn't use. She's going to put it away here. And believe it or not, we had I want to say about 3 pounds of mozzarella we used between the 3 pans, and I mean I'm telling you ingredients for all 3 pans here. So we had like 3 pounds of mozzarella or so between all 3 pans. We also had a tape measure in the corner there, but we also had not just the mozzarella, but we had some cheddar cheese. There's quite a bit of different items in here, different things. We had the ricotta with eggs. We had 4 containers of ricotta. I think they're all 16-ounce containers, and that was like 64 ounces of ricotta and 4 large eggs. And so that gives you an idea how much all went into this. And we still haven't cooked the large pan, the deep pan. So here we are at the oven here. I'm going to take a look, and there is our small pan, and maybe it might be done. We put that one in 375 degrees. We had it in for 30 minutes. So I'm going to take it out and we're going to test it here. Okay, so we got some after meal stories here. My mother here was telling about a time when there was a huge pan of food that I had made, and somehow the food wasn't properly stored and it got freezer burn as a result. And then my mother, as a result of that, she gave it to some raccoons and some wild animals, which were outside the door here. And so here we are, and I'm going to ask, how did the animals receive it? Tell me the whole story of how you took the pan of food and you brought it out and what happened there.
Well, I set the food out. Actually, I didn't have room in my freezer either. And so the door kept coming open, and the freezer burn was on the product itself, and it did. But I knew that some raccoons may want it because nobody wanted it. I even called people to ask them if they wanted it. So what I did was I set out a big pan, like a roaster pan full of lasagna. It was vegetarian lasagna on the front porch. Well, I did notice that raccoons, rats, and cats were all lining around the aluminum foil pan, and they were standing side to side, and none of them bothered each other, and nobody was afraid, and they all ate a whole pan of lasagna. And in the morning there was probably a little left, but what they were doing is raccoons would take a bite of lasagna and spit out all the garlic and stuff like that. But I thought, when I saw all the animals eating together, it was like peace on earth to me, and that's what I got that message out of it, and it just seemed like something you'd never think to see, and that the animals were not afraid of each other. And I was thinking about in the Bible where it says, the lion shall lay down with the lamb, and that phrase came to me.
Where they won't harm nor destroy, and as a result there they'll have peace, and there will be peace between the lion, the lamb, the little boy, the snake, and they'll all basically
Live in harmony.
They'll live in harmony, and they'll dwell together and be peaceable to one another.
And that's what that reminded me of. And they ate, every animal ate, and there was still food left over. And I was just thinking of the fact that they all were not afraid of each other. And neither were they enemies to each other at that moment when they all ate together in peace.
Well, I'll tell you, when I make a pan of lasagna and it costs maybe $50 or $75 or something like that, I'm always discouraged that it goes to raccoons and whatnot. But sometimes I understand how it might be necessary if it gets freezer burn or something's not right where it can't be eaten. Then of course, I mean, that's where it goes to the animals. I understand that. So I'm just kind of interested at this point to see, now that it has gone to the animals, sort of the story behind it, and I think it's kind of intriguing. I know that my mother here was telling me that she had a guest, and she said the guest would come and would wait in her car until all the animals would leave, and that the animals would come like one after another. There would be, like, I think raccoons first, and then possums, and then after the possum there would be rats, and after there would be cats, and they would kind of like be in some kind of procession where they would come like one type of animal after another, and
That's how they're all fed. The only problem with with the situation was that they started expecting food from me. And the other thing was that when they did come and eat, they would like take the food out of the pan or roaster pan or whatever that was a disposable, and they would smear it all over the porch. And what they spit out was always garlic. They didn't like garlic. So.
Well, thank you much, here. So here we are. We're going to look at the last pan of lasagna in the oven. And maybe I can cook it a little bit longer. Okay, so all 3 pans of lasagna are done. And the big pan here that I'm pointing at, this was 375 degrees for 45 minutes. The small pan here, 375 degrees for 30 minutes. And the 7-quart pan here, enamel cast iron, this is a Dutch oven. This was 350 degrees for 55 minutes. And that's what we got as a result. Now, we have quite a bit of lasagna here. Just to remind you, there are 4 quarts in a gallon. So when we look at the 7-quart Dutch oven here, we're looking at almost 2 gallons. And then here we might be looking at a couple gallons. And then at the end here, maybe a little bit more than a gallon of lasagna. So in total here we got maybe 5 gallons of lasagna, and the oven is cooling here. So that's what we got. We're going to let it cool for a while, and we'll see how things go.